when I bring what I do to the table online, I have my own methods. I have my own protocol. One of the things is to not be afraid of making mistakes. But when I am curious about building a consensus, or when I'm curious about building a conversation, what I do is, in the beginning, is I really just trust my instincts first, meaning that I will get a glimpse of the landscape, what's going on, and at least in my mind, I'll have kind of like a formed idea. I'm not rigid to it, but I'll have a formed idea of what I believe is going on, and without editing myself, without holding anything back, I'll just reveal it and I'll put it out there. I'll put it out there, one, for myself to digest more, but also for other people. Now, this is where it comes in. This is where actually making mistakes when you're building a consensus is really important, actually. Making mistakes is it's a very human thing to do. So how we respond to when we make a mistake and how others respond to us when we make a mistake is also probably one of the most revealing things that can be measured when people are developing a consensus. When I went in to leave my first comment on Wikipedia, my name, Ron Viharo, was in my signature, my very first comment. And this was, oh my God, I remember when it happened. I mean, I know I was open to making mistakes. I know that was part of my philosophy, is to, be cool with that. If you make a mistake, don't be afraid. But this was not the mistake that I would have wanted to make, absolutely. Exposing my real name on Wikipedia. And so I was like, oh my God, how do I solve this problem? I screwed up before I've even started now. So you can see here, anyone has a Wikipedia background, I'm going to show you where this mistake was made. Anyone can see this is not non-intentional. So when you sign your signature on Wikipedia, here I'm going to show you quick, give you an example. So on the back end of Wikipedia, there's a signature, and there's your existing signature, and then there's a field here that you could input something. And I guess you could, for example, have your actual username appear in another way. A lot of editors do this. And I must have, right back, the last time I was on Wikipedia, I don't know, 2008 or something, 2009, whenever it was, I must have, for some reason, put in my name, right in this field. I don't know why I did that. I don't remember. This was like years earlier. I'm assuming my thinking was, if I put my real name in, that I wanted to work with Wikipedia in a way where I was transparent back in 2007, 2008. I didn't know how Wikipedia worked, so I don't even know if I was aware that this is a publishing signature. I just didn't know. It doesn't matter. I don't recall why I did that in 2007, but I didn't know it was there when I actually went in 2013. So this is where this mistake happened on my end, just being transparent about my mistake. And as you can see here, this is my name showing up, and this is me immediately removing it. Okay, so my name was under my signature for about 15 seconds on Wikipedia. That's it. So I removed it, all right? So I left my signature, I saw it was my real name, and I immediately removed it from Wikipedia. And you can see this for yourself, right? Because if you are actually to go to the talk page where the discussions are published, you would see that my first comment no longer contains my real name. It says preceding unsigned comment added by Tumbleman, not my real name, Tumbleman. Okay? So this is what actually wound up occurring on Wikipedia. Now, the way Wikipedia works, it doesn't mean that my real name is not recorded, because I did, once you publish something on Wikipedia, it's there forever, right? Unless there is a special thing admins can do to remove things. I wasn't aware of it at the time, right? That you could do that, or contact an admin for help if you unintentionally publish something that you didn't mean to. But for the most part, if that happens, it is still on Wikipedia. It's just archived, right? It's just buried one layer deep. So no one's going to really see it unless they have the intention to go through a history for some reason. That's it. That's the only way someone will find a mistake. I felt that I was able to protect myself enough within reason, and I felt Wikipedia's own policies about being anonymous on Wikipedia while you edit would protect me, right? This is what I really believed. So what wound up happening is I immediately got greeted by an editor on Wikipedia named Vizak. Now, if you go to look for Vizak now, right, notice that Vizak is in red. What that means is that editor is no longer registered. Now, Vizak is very interesting, very, very interesting. Probably, this editor is probably the central editor that I focus on Wikipedia. We have a problem. Now, I blogged about Rational Wiki. I blogged about the Smith brothers. I blogged about Tim Farley. But it's really this editor that I, one, hold responsible for everything that's happened to me, everything. But notice that, okay, well, who is this person? They're gone. What happened? How can an account not be registered if there's an editing history of it? Well, I'm going to show you why. Because after publication of Wikipedia, We Have a Problem, that editor changed their name, changed their hard account name. So if you go to search for Vizak anywhere on Wikipedia, it's nowhere to be found. Now, this is not an easy thing to do. I have no idea how they did this. You have to you have to know what you're doing. This is a sophisticated change, and this change happened due to the attention that I was bringing to this account. So one, I just want to show that right away. But anyway, what I noticed was this account. So Vizak Manul had an editing history themselves. This is their very first edit on Wikipedia, right here, Rupert Sheldrake, okay? Not only was that their first edit on Wikipedia, but that was the edit that removed Rupert Sheldrake being a biologist from the first sentence. And you can see here that all of their edits, their focus on Wikipedia, right, up until around this time, was all Rupert Sheldrake, right? Not only was it all Rupert Sheldrake, any alteration in their editing work from Rupert Sheldrake was to accounts of skeptic interests. So all of these, you see this? Eben Alexander. This is a very infamous target for skeptic organizations. The $1 million Paranormal Challenge, of course, that's the famous James Randi challenge. They're building Wikipedia articles, building references for articles that are related to skeptic interests. Raymond Moody, Charles Tart, Michael Brooks, Chris French. These are Dean Radin. These are all individuals that are relevant to skeptic organizations and skeptic interests. If you look at their editing focus, it's obvious that they joined Wikipedia to focus on Rupert Sheldrake's article, and beyond that, to focus on interests related to skeptic organizations. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, that they are what's called a single purpose account, or an SPI. But it is something that's it is frowned upon on Wikipedia. Sometimes it can be used against you to suppress you away from editing an article. But it does I just bring it up to show intentions, right? And this is how I was greeted. So my first greeting on Wikipedia was from Vizak. So the second I leave my comment, boom, I am met with a greeting from Vizak. Vizak, who is now editor Manul, right away, my first comment basically leaves me a notice on my notice board. Hey, you're making personal attacks, and this is a ground for sanction. And next, this is what happened. On my talk page, republished my name. So they republished my name and my history on my talk page, on Rupert Sheldrake's talk page, for everyone to see. Wikipedia has major guidelines around being civil, on Wikipedia. That is the only way consensus can work, is if people are civil and decent to each other. User space harassment. Now, a common problem in harassment is user space. Examples include placing numerous false or questionable warnings on a user's talk page. To insist that an editor be sanctioned for an isolated minor incident, to repeatedly bring up past incivility after an individual has changed their approach, or to treat constructive criticism as an attack, are themselves potentially disruptive and may result in warnings. So specifically, it is unacceptable to attack a user who has a history of foolish and boorish behavior, or even one who has been subjected to disciplinary action with this. But essentially what happened is this editor broke a number of Wikipedia guidelines. One, republishing my name. The assumption is maybe they thought that it was okay for them to republish because they saw it somewhere else in Wikipedia, but I showed you that that's a retraction. They broke the other Wikipedia guideline known as wiki hounding, which is another form of harassment on Wikipedia. And this, they're publishing my real name, my former accounts, and they're going back into my history now from 2006 to establish something about my state of mind here on Wikipedia in 2013. One can see that this is, according to Wikipedia, harassment, right? How Wikipedia defines harassment is what happened to me my first 3 days. But to be treated like this, to me, was my personal verification that what Rupert was claiming on the BBC, what he was talking about, that editors were being shooed away and suppressed away, to me was obvious, okay? This is an obvious thing. So what do I do? What do I do as an editor when I have been greeted this way? Well, and I didn't really know what my recourse was, but when this happened, in some ways, I was kind of excited. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but remember, my background is in online consensus building, right? And here I went into a consensus with my process, already somewhat at play, in the sense that, okay, I'm just going to see what happens, right? If I make mistake, I make mistake. Let me see what the outcome is. It was way more than I expected. I had no idea something like this would have happened at this level. And what this gave me the opportunity to do was, oh, cool, now I get to see how Wikipedia's path to recourse works. I still did not know what I was doing. I didn't know which was the proper notice board to go to. I just saw dispute resolution notice board. I had a dispute. I want to resolve it. That's where I'm going to go. And boom. And I said, hey, this is, so many words. This is a little inappropriate. Whatever you think my history was and my past was, that has nothing to do while I'm here. Blah, blah, blah. I'm in dispute resolution, and I am furious, of course, that this editor would do this. And I also go to their talk page, right, and address it, hey, I suggest you calm down a bit, right? I haven't begun to edit yet. I said there's going to be plenty of time for you and I to deliberate once I do, but I expect both of us to be level-headed, respectful, and most importantly, without bias. After going to Vizak Emanuel's talk page and saying, hey, this isn't cool, let's be level-headed, let's work it out. After bringing it into dispute resolution, I got an olive branch from Vizak. And Vizak Emanuel removed my name in those posts. And this, to me, was a good sign, right? So I felt at the time that everything was squashed. And although I was harassed according to Wikipedia's own rules and guidelines, right, in my first few days, I was also able to resolve it on Wikipedia within those first few days. And getting this olive branch on my talk page from Vizak Emanuel clarified that for me. And as you can see here, my last word to Vizak was, thank you, Vizak, for your honorable resolution to this issue. And I look forward with working with you again, maintaining Wikipedia's neutral point of view. See you on the page. So I made a commitment to actually really kind of go in and build a consensus here. And at this point, I thought that everything was going to be fine. The truth is, this is hardly the beginning. The harassment got far worse after this. I'm going to be going into that in another video. but I just want to show that this was this was my first introduction to editing on a contentious Wikipedia article on Wikipedia. This is what happened to me my first few days. And it specifically happened with someone who was an editor, who was editing specifically content that showed that their interests were that of a skeptic activist on Wikipedia. And everything, this is barely the beginning. Believe me, this entire journey just gets more strange, more bizarre, more harassing. And I will going to get to that, believe me, in the next few videos. All right. Thanks a lot so far. And hey, I'm having fun doing this so far. I wish I would have done this a lot earlier. So if you have any questions, this is probably boring, right? But if you have any questions, if you see me, if I've made a mistake anywhere, please correct me, please comment, and please give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.